look goofy? I probably do. Anyways, what's up YouTube? I'm back for another YouTube video here. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to install a low pressure fuel pump. I don't think that there's many videos out there showing you guys how to install one. So this is going to show you kind of step by step how to install one to your car. This works along with pretty much any G chassis, along with the Supra. Supra is going to be a little bit harder to access because you're going to have to go underneath the car. But this is going to be on a G20. So this works with G80, G82, I believe the G87s as well too. Anything with a G chassis, this is going to apply to you. Supra, same exact way. It's just going to be a little bit different. Not too much. It's just getting access to your low pressure fuel pump is going to be a little bit harder. This kit specifically is going to be a Precision Raceworks hybrid stage 2 fuel pump. What this kit is going to have is it's going to have the fuel pump itself. I believe a bracket that attaches itself to the stock canister pump, along with some lines and a, for this particular car that I'm going to be working with, which isn't here yet if you can't tell, is going to be running off of a hob switch. If you're looking for any parts, hit up my wife, B58 Dory. She actually had this charge pipe shipped straight to our house. That way, whenever he comes, it's all prepped and ready to go. The low pressure fuel pump, he actually ordered to his house instead, but she saved him a couple $100, I believe, and she has accounts with a ton of other companies out there. As long as you ask her, she should be able to get it for you. Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoy the video. If you guys do, let me know. I'm gonna do as many install videos as I can with customers that come in and myself as well. I do have a couple of things that I am having in the works for the M340i, if you have seen my last video. All right, guys, so we're back. This is the PR high pressure stage 2 kit. So this is actually the fuel pump itself. This is going to be the lines that connect the fuel pump to the stock one, and it kind of wires into a single line that pretty much reuses the OEM fuel lines underneath the car to go to the upfront for the fuel system. This is the power and ground for the pump itself, along with the bracket, hob switch, pretty much the wiring, the wire trigger, whatever you want to call it, for the hob switch, and then the harness itself for the low pressure fuel pump. So some of these connectors he's not going to be using because he's not running a reflex right now. So most of it is just going to be using for the hob switch to kick on the low pressure fuel pump to give him, more fuel pressure to run a full E85 or whatever else his tuners were asking of him. Just to kind of go show you guys all the parts that are here. We have everything that we need, tool-wise, parts-wise. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get started. I'm gonna get started on the low pressure fuel pump because that's gonna be... All right, so we are in the back seat. You're gonna have to ignore this janky lighting. It's gonna come in handy whenever that time comes. But this car specifically has a pretty cool option where it has heated rear seats. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna pop the rear seats up to get to the top hat itself. So if you're following an install, this actually applies to pretty much all the G chassis, like I mentioned before. So they all should come up the same exact way. This one in particular is going to be a little bit different because it has the a connector for the heated seats. But you're going to want to just pull up on this side here. So you're going to want to run your fingers underneath. And there you go. You hear like an audible pop. And then you're going to want to run to the other side. Excuse me, guys. Do the same exact thing on this side here. Bam. So just lift it up. For me particular, I have to look for that harness. Where's that connector at? Once you pull it, should come straight out. Some of these little seat belts were going to be in the way. Okay, let me get to the other side real quick so I can visually see I'm a little in a tight spot here. Okay, pull it up. The connector is right here. Let me get this out first. Ow. Let me bring you guys over here in case you guys do have the heated seat option on the G20. Kind of bad lighting, but there's a tab right there. Push down on it, pull in the connector. Same thing with this one. Push down on it, pull the connector. So once you do that, you can pull the seats out. That's only if you have heated seats. If you don't have it, you don't have to worry about it. Skip on to the next step. So lift this up. You're gonna go underneath here, and then you're gonna kind of pull the cover towards you, and then up and over, and then ta-da! That is your the first cover of your top hat. So, all right, so once you're here, I believe it's lefty loosey, so you want to just twist it. Should come right off. Okay, so once you pop this off, I have popped that rubber grommet out of the way. There's a little thing here that you can pop off as well too to get a little bit more clearance on things. So this is tab as well too, right here. You can pop off. That way this cover here itself can be moved freely. And next things next here is just removing the connectors. So there is a, excuse me, you want to push down on this tab. Ooh, that might be a little loud, sorry. Then push down on this tab here and pull that off. There you are, that's one. There's a red retainer here. Wonder if I can zoom in on that. I can, kind of. You're gonna pop that up, and then you're gonna push down on this black piece right here, and then pull up. And just, there you go. It should pop right out. Sorry about that, I hit the camera. So this entire harness piece here should be essentially out of the way, so you're not going to worry about that for a little while. Next things next here is being able to make sure that you can pop off this fuel line. So this one might take, this one's actually going to probably shoot fuel out because this car just got here. So I'm going to grab some rags, I'm going to put on this side here on the back side, and then we're going to work on taking this one off. It's a little tricky. You want to push the connectors on both sides. I don't know why his connector here actually was popped out. That's very interesting that it's like that. Okay, apologies for the multiple angles here, guys. I'm just trying to make sure that we got everything done correctly here. So we're gonna shove a rag in the back like I had showed you guys a second ago. And then I have essentially these pry tools. This one's a little this one's a little bent. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a little bent, but it'll work just fine along with another pry tool here. So we're gonna have to push on both ends of the connector, the yellow and not the yellow, the white and the red, and to get it to, you know, open up essentially. So we're gonna push one side in here, and then we're gonna push the other side in. Okay, so I popped it off, and actually I'll show you guys. More than likely you're gonna see all the fuel fly out of here. Okay, so once you're here, make sure you're doing this in a very ventilated workspace as well too, along with making sure that you have actually already unplugged the battery as well too. I forgot to mention that, where this is going to shoot out fuel here. There you are. So I'm just going to let it just lose pressure, and so I'm just going to clean this up a little bit here and make sure that we have a good clean workspace. Yeah, it looks good. Throw that rag outside. So what I'm going to do now is actually I'm going to start taking this ring off. So there is a tool that you can use to kind of put on top of the ring and then turn it, but I don't have that, and we're kind of ghetto here. So I have a chisel along with a metal hammer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit that clockwise. So we're gonna go to the left, and then once this pops off, hopefully it didn't have too much gas in here, and we can actually start pulling the fuel pump out. So that was actually a really quick time lapse. Didn't take me that long actually. It took me like 30 seconds maybe. So let me bring you guys up over here real quick. Apologies for throwing you guys around. But to show you guys up front what's gonna end up happening is once the ring is off, make sure that you guys are actually hitting it from every angle that you can. If you only hit it from one side, it actually just pushes the ring to the opposite direction and it just gets stuck. So you wanna hit it here, hit it here, hit it here, hit it here, and then just kind of go at a counterclockwise motion, and it should come off when taking this off. If not, then fuel should be flying out everywhere, which he didn't screw me. Hell yeah. All right, cool. So now that we have the top hat off, I'm gonna have to move my camera around real quick to show you guys exactly what all you need to do here in order to move the top hat and whatever else you need to take this canister out. You're gonna pry this one off actually. So there you are. You're gonna want to pull this sucker off as well. Bam. So that way the top hat moves freely. So you see how these wires here are gonna go to the canister itself. So just put that aside somewhere, and that way you don't run into it. So next things next is, it's gonna be a little difficult to show you guys, but I'm gonna show you guys beforehand and then do it myself. Sorry that the angles are kind of bad, but this should give you an idea
of how to do everything. So once you're at this part here, there is this line right down here, this black one that I'm touching. You're gonna want to disconnect that. So there should be a button, if I'm not mistaken, on here that you can push down on, like a quick disconnect. You gotta find it, push down on it, bam. So here, there you go. So you're gonna push down on this as hard as you can, and then pull out the opposite direction where it's at. So this, at this point, the canister filter or the canister pump or whatever should be free. What you're gonna need to do, actually I take that back, you're not entirely free yet, but you are getting there. So in this tank, you're going to, where is it at? There's a little filter here that you need to pop off, which I can't get access of. Give me 1 second. So what I ended up doing here was I actually pulled up on this little grommet. I don't think other G chassis have this. I think maybe just the 440s and the M340s have them. I believe that the M4s and the M3s don't have it. The Supras don't have this either. So once you pull this out, in my opinion, I don't put it back in just because of space, because we are going to be using a hybrid pump. So I remove this completely, so we can just get rid of that. And the next thing here is there's a little lever on the side of the fuel pump that you lift up on. You can hear the audible click, and you just pull the pump towards you and it'll come right out. And so let me put you guys back down so that way I can actually pull this pump completely out. Okay, so once you're here, you want to be very careful because the fuel leveler is going to be on the side of the pump as well. And once you pull, you want to kind of finagle it and kind of see what's the best way to get it out. There you go. So typically what happens is that whenever you get at least part of the top hat off, you should be able to slide it out pretty easily. Tilt it this way wherever this leveler is at, so that way you don't break the fuel leveler. And there you are, your fuel pump is out. Now what I typically do here is, because there is still fuel inside of the canister itself, I like to dump it out back in the tank. I try not to make a mess, which I still made a mess. And once you're there, bam, there is your fuel pump. So on the workbench, sorry if I'm really loud, we're gonna have to cut the old line here off. So we're gonna cut one here, make an incision, an incision essentially here, and then make another incision up here where the top hat's at, so we can remove that line itself completely. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then kind of see where we need to go from there. So what we're gonna do here is, since I have the fuel pump out, I actually, before I even showed y'all, I actually cut the lines here. Oh, I did show you guys that. So what I'm gonna do now is, this plate is actually gonna sit somewhere right about, on the other side, somewhere right about here. And this is where the secondary pump is gonna sit. I'm just gonna time lapse this because there's actually kind of a lot to record and explain. Okay, so as you can see in the time lapse I finished, drilled 2 little holes on the right side here of the pump, or the left side here of the pump, and put the plastic rib nuts in. And then essentially for the long part of the time lapse was just me just mocking everything up to make sure to see how it's gonna sit. So it's gonna sit in the tank essentially kind of like this. And so I want to make sure that none of the lines are going to be kinked once it's in the actual pump or in the actual tank itself. So it should sit a little something like this. So I'm going to take everything off essentially besides the actual pump lines, the fuel lines itself. I have to take the pump off because it's not going to fit in that hole if I try to stick it in the way it is. So I'm going to go back into the car and we're going to put this back in. All right, so once you're back in the car with the pump and everything, so let me put this aside real quick. You want to be able to, like I was saying a second ago, you want to make sure that you're able to get the pump back in first. Ooh, I'm sorry, I pushed y'all. All right, same thing like last time. You want to put the leveler in first, and then kind of just hook it, and it should. Gonna have to kind of wiggle it in there to get it to go in, because you do have that bracket now that's on the side of the actual pump. Wiggle it in there. Bam. So the canister is back in. So this part, what I like to do is I actually like to mount it back on the bracket before I do anything else, just because that way it doesn't move whenever you're actually trying to click stuff in. So the canister is going to sit, there's a bracket that kind of clips on kind of like this, so you want to go at an angle and push down on it. You'll hear an audible click. I can't really show you guys that because it's actually in the tank. So a good indicator to kind of know where to start, to be honest with you, is actually to look on your canister itself. And I'm pretty sure you can see that. Can y'all see that? No, you cannot. Let me bring you guys over here. So there's this little notch here that I look for. My gimbal wants to stop being dumb, sorry. Come on. All right, this notch here needs to line up with that. So I need 2 hands for this more than likely, but once you line up the canister, you can feel it not move, and you want to push down on it. You'll hear it click. So you want to hear an audible click. Just shoot. There you go. So with that in place, pump's not going anywhere. The canister pump's not going anywhere. Next thing you want to do is plug your fuel pump together. Red is with red, black is with black. Once you're connected, you want to kind of find where you had made that bracket. So you're gonna have to go at an angle and kind of finesse it in there. But it's a little difficult to find it like this. Oh, actually, let's do this. Let's pop the canister back out. Find that bracket that it's supposed to go into. Slide it onto the bracket. There you are. Slide the bracket in. And I remember for a fact that this one goes to this line, and this line goes to this one. Cool. We're just gonna turn this back to where it's supposed to sit. There you are. Like I said, it takes a little bit of finessing to get that back into place, and like I was mentioning earlier, you want to just go in there and push down on it, get at that little ledge. Want to line it up. Bam. So, all right, so once you got everything in, pretty straightforward. You're just doing reverse order at this point. Make sure all the lines are where it needs to be. I know I have another connector here somewhere that I need to plug. This connector here, this needs to go back to its original spot, which is right there. Very good thing right now at this point, what you should do is to run your hand in the actual tank to make sure that the fuel leveler isn't stuck and doesn't get snagged on any wiring or anything of that sort. So this one is good. we're good there. And both pumps are plugged in. This one actually goes here. And yeah, so I just need the ring and we can finish this off. This tab actually also was facing that direction, so we're gonna put that in exactly how it came out. Same exact thing, just make sure that it's set up correctly. Don't want any wires to get pinched, so I'll run the wires in and it should seat pretty flat, just like that. And then put this ring on, and like I said, pretty much reverse order at this point. You want to just hammer it to the right. So what I'm gonna do here at this point is that I'm gonna run the actual harness, the power and ground, to the actual plug itself. So before we do that, actually, we should actually install everything else. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna plug everything where it's supposed to, so this fuel line can go back to where it was before. So audible click, there you go. And then this plug goes in there, you hear a click. Make sure you push down the retainer clip as well. Plug this little harness back in, or sensor, or whatever you want to call it, and then run that line right through the aftermarket line for your low pressure. And then I'm gonna click that on just to be extra safe here. So what we're gonna do at this point is I'm going to close this off. I believe the top hat is secure. Yeah, it is. The top hat is secure here. And what we're gonna do is, there you go, lock it in place. I'm gonna have this wire kind of stick out a little bit. There's nothing really can really do about that as of right now. Should be exposed to the harness that we need for the low pressure fuel pump. Now I'm gonna run this kind of through the seat, but a little bit further down. Don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can. So run it underneath here. It'll work just like that. I don't want to clip it on just yet because I want to make sure the fitment and it's not being pulled on too much, which doesn't look like it is. You just plug it into the connector here. Hear the audible click. Bam, done. Low pressure is installed. All right, guys. Well, a whole lot has happened. I didn't get to record much because I was just like in the zone to try to get everything done. But pretty much just finished the entire install in this car. We did his charge pipe. We also did his hob switch as well too. And we have that routed all the way to the back, going into the cabin, going straight back to his low pressure fuel pump, along with essentially that's a switch to turn on his low pressure fuel pump whenever it sees boost. So hopefully you guys enjoy the install video on the low pressure fuel pump. If I get another install that isn't commonly done, or just in general, I'll record it for you guys. So other than that, I'm just gonna call it done. See you guys in the next video. Later.